As we said, today's project is a deck restoration, and I call it a restoration. We actually had to strip this deck completely of a failed stain that was put on 3 years ago. Part of the reason this stain failed is the wood was typically probably green or very wet when the initial coating was put on, or the initial stain. And also many times this wood has mill glaze. What mill glaze is when the planers smooth that wood, it polishes it. You've got resin and sap coming out of the wood. So when we buy wood from the lumber yard, it does need to be prepared. Many people say, hey, it's new wood, doesn't need to do anything. I'm going to sand every new board that I put down. Doesn't matter what stain I'm using. It will perform better if you sand off that slickness and let the stain get in the wood so it can protect. If it lays on top, it's going to wash off. And I think that's a lot of what happened here. So we had a lot of areas that were bare, but we also had areas where the stain did get into the wood in the softer grain, and we had to strip that because the one-time wood protector, our product of choice, the deck has to be completely stripped. In addition to stripping, this was an acrylic stain. You can't strip them with a deck stain remover. They'll strip the old oil-based stains fine, but if you've got an acrylic, you're going to chemically strip it, and you're going to use a sander. We had a couple days sanding in this deck. We had a day of washing the deck, so we got 3 days of labor to prepare the deck for the proper product because the wrong product was chosen when the deck was new. That's frustrating. This deck's 3 years old. They paid somebody to put the stain on. They put it on improper wood. Now the wood is, when the deck was constructed, the deck was not coated on the bottom. These boards are cupped and split already. That's nothing to do with the stain. That's not even to do with the stain that was on it before. This splitting, cupping, and warping is directly related to the moisture content of the wood when the deck was initially built. And then in addition now, we have moisture that's being drawn into the bottom of the deck. We have some low-to-ground decking here. There's a lot of plants and vegetation, so we have a tremendous amount of moisture. Probably the watering of the plants. So this wood should have been sealed. All the saw cuts sealed, the bottom side sealed. No matter what product you're using, you should seal the bottom of the deck and you should seal the saw cuts on properly prepared and properly dried wood. Once we have that information, then we have to choose a deck stain. What product are we going to use? At PaintSource, we've got one product for decks. That's called One-Time Wood Protector. We've sold this product for over 10 years. I have thousands of satisfied clients. We're not talking about internet, consumer reports, any of this stuff. We're talking about real-world customers who have purchased the one time 10, 12 years ago. They recoat the deck every 4 or 5 years. No one is dissatisfied with one time. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some people are. People who have bare stain on their deck from Home Depot, and they try to use the one time. In most cases, the bare stain fails, but it's hard to strip, and so they don't get it completely stripped. Don't blame the one time. If you have bare stain on your deck, one time is going to be the best solution, but you got to be willing to strip the deck before you apply. Stripping the deck does not mean just putting a deck stain remover, a deck stripper on. That doesn't mean you stripped it, that means you applied a stripper. Many homeowners will assume that they stripped a deck. You're going to have to sand if you have bare stain. If you have bare stain that has failed, you have to chemically strip the deck and or sand the deck. If you've got a real large deck, you may want to Google the term corn cob blasting or log home restoration, and they can use a corn cob blaster. Bottom line, we're expressing our frustration with all these deck stains that are heavily advertised and they're non-functioning. Okay, see, I'm ranting again. Okay.